Neck pain is a really, really common symptom of scoliosis. And especially if you're sitting at your desk for long periods of time, it can make it worse and you could be suffering from that tightness around the neck and shoulders. So the practice that I'm sharing with you today is coming straight from my membership. And all that you need is a soft Pilates ball or a rolled up towel. And we're going to start lying down in the back, and this is going to go into that curvature, inward curvature of your neck. So when you're ready, just lying down on your back, and we just want to get this into that inward curvature here, which is the natural curvature of the back. And most of us, especially if you suffer from forward head posture, our neck is too straight, so we don't have that inward curvature. So this little release actually encourages the neck or the head into that position that we need it to be in. Good, so give yourself a moment just to kind of soften into this a little bit. What we don't want is that the chin sticks out all the way up towards the ceiling, but just keeping it contained a little bit. And see if you can just allow yourself to sink into that support a little bit, letting your shoulders relax. And just starting to notice your breath. And I want you to see if you can direct the breath into the upper back. So think about space in between the shoulder blades, the back of the rib cage, so that whenever you're breathing in, you're expanding into the back of the rib cage, and maybe you feel your shoulders, tops of the shoulders, slightly lifting away from the floor. When you really take a deep breath in, and then when you exhale, let them release, let them sink. So we're going to do that a few times. So take a breath in, long breath in, into the back, filling up the back of the lungs, back of the rib cage, and then exhale, let your shoulders release. Keep going, just feeling that little bit of a lift away from the floor on the inhale and the exhale to release. Let's take one more breath here. Good, and then just letting your shoulders, your arms be relaxed. And we're just going to start with a little nodding movement. So we're going to just gently draw the chin ever so slightly down towards the chest, and then lifting the chin any amount up towards the ceiling. So small is better than big for those neck movements. Keeping it quite small, keeping it really easy, really simple. You can always go a little bit bigger if that feels okay, but bigger is not necessarily better when it comes to the neck. And especially, we're really getting into those very, very top vertebrae. So you need to keep the movement really small and contained. Good. So now we're going to work our way a little bit further down the neck. We're going to go a side to side movement. So just allowing your head to roll from side to side. Good, and then let's see if we can take this into a circular movement. So we're going to lift the chin up. Take the head over to one side, chin down, over to the other side. So this is quite a small little circle. And let's take it the other way around. At all times, you want to keep the neck muscles really relaxed while you're making this movement. This is why it's a good check-in for me to talk while I'm doing this, because if I'm doing too much, I won't be able to talk. You will hear it in my voice a little bit more. Good. And then let's just come back to center and let's come off that support. So take the ball out and just lying without the ball and just notice how that feels. Do you feel that space, that nice inward curvature at the back of the neck? So we want to kind of remember our alignment here, because we are going to come into sitting for a moment. And we're going to see if we can find that same alignment when we come into sitting. Okay, so let's roll ourselves over to the side. And I don't mind if you sit in a chair, if that's more comfortable for you, if you sit on cushions, if you sit cross-legged, if you come into kneeling. It really doesn't matter, but we just want to be in this upright position for a moment and see if you can just kind of close your eyes for a moment and see if you can visualize your spine. Your spine is nice and long. There's space in between the vertebrae of the spine. The breath can flow nice and easy. There's expansion on the inhale, softening on the exhale. And the head is just balancing on the very, very top of the spine. So notice what happens if you let your head come forwards a little bit more. You might feel that the muscles at the back or upper back need to work a little bit harder. What happens if you take the head slightly back? It might start to feel uncomfortable in some areas, so you don't want to go into that, but just notice how maybe the throat or the muscles at the front need to work a little bit more. If you tilt the head slightly over to one side, there'll be one side that is stretching slightly, but it's also holding on because it doesn't want the head to fully drop. So we want to find that place where the head is just almost floating. It's almost a floating sensation. There's no effort in any way. And let's just pause here for a moment, just breathing. Let your shoulders soften. Good. So from there, let's bring in a little bit of movement into the back. So we're going to start with a little mini cat-cow. You can open your eyes for this. So we're going to just lift the chest, lift that breastbone slightly. And then we're going to slightly round into the upper back. So obviously, if you have a fusion, this is going to be a very, very small movement. But see if you can kind of focus on this opening of the front of the chest, the muscles, creating space. And then when you're thinking about rounding the upper back, you're creating space in the upper back. Yeah, so if you do not have a fusion, then make that movement a little bit bigger, because we are going to mobilize that thoracic spine a little bit more. So we're going to lift up through the chest and then rounding into the upper back. So I'm trying to be quite mindful and not let this come from my lower back as much, because I know for myself, my lower back is very flexible, but my upper back not so much. So I'm trying to do this really, really mindfully, that I'm really creating space at the front of the chest and then at the back around the shoulder blades. And the head can start to get involved a little bit as well. Good. Let the head follow. Think about this kind of floating sensation. If your upper back is moving, your head will also be moving. Good. So let's see if we can take this into a circle. And we're just thinking about that thoracic spine, kind of circling the rib cage. And again, if this part of your spine is fused, your movement is simply going to be smaller. But I want you to also visualize it. Visualize that you're creating that movement. This is a very, very powerful exercise. Let's take it the other way around. Again, if you have mobility, then use it, but not so much in the lower back, but just into that thoracic spine. Good. So we're just creating a little bit more mobility here. So usually what happens if the neck is overworked is because other parts of the body are not doing their job properly and because we've lost our alignment. So that's what we're working on today. Good. Nice. Let's come back to center here now that we've created a little bit more movement into that thoracic spine. You can have a little wiggle around, maybe doing a little figure of 8 movement with the shoulders, but just to kind of soften, to release a little bit more. Good. And then come back to point of stillness. Let's give those neck muscles a little bit of a lengthen. First of all, what we're going to do, because muscles tend to be chronically tight, we're going to tighten them. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift the left shoulder up towards the left ear, and we're going to tilt the head slightly over to the side. So you're going to imagine you're squeezing all those muscles, tightening them, and then you're slowly going to release that left shoulder and bringing the head back to neutral, just to neutral. Good, so I'm going to do that 3 times. So we're going to draw the shoulder up towards the ear, bring the ear towards the shoulder, squeeze, and then very slowly release and just bringing the head back to neutral, really letting that shoulder drop. Good. With the next one, we'll go a little bit further. So we're going to draw the shoulder up towards the ear. And then we're going to release the shoulder down. And this time we're going to take the head slightly over to the opposite side, just to see the amount of space that we've got. We don't want to kind of pull too much, just to explore. Okay, come back to neutral. Notice how that feels, left shoulder compared to the right shoulder. And we're going to do the other side. So we're going to tighten those muscles on the right now. So shoulder comes up towards the ear, ear towards the shoulder, little squeeze, and then we're going to soften the right shoulder, bringing the head back to neutral. And again, bring that shoulder up towards the ear, ear towards the shoulder, tighten, and then release, coming back to neutral. Good. Last one, and this time we're going to create a little bit more space. So we're going to squeeze first, and then we're going to slowly release and take the head slightly over towards the left, just to see how much space there might be. Good. And then we're going to bring the head back to neutral. Good. Last thing that we're going to do is we're going to finish with some semicircles here. And we're going to drop the head over to one side, but keep it nice and gentle. That's kind of the theme for this class. Chin down towards the chest and then circle over to the other side. And then we go from that side, coming forwards and over to the other side. Good. Let's do it one more time, nice and gentle. And then coming back to center. And let's see if we can find this nice floating sensation again. So you might want to close your eyes, no tension in the shoulders. Visualize your spine from the base of the spine all the way up towards the neck. The vertebrae of the spine, a little bit of space in between each vertebra. And the head is just about floating above the top vertebra without any effort. It's just balancing on top. So you could just kind of find that place by just making little movements. If you bring your chin slightly in, is there less effort? If you bring your head slightly over more to one side or the other, is there less effort? Find the place that feels most balanced to you. And imagining those muscles around the neck to soften a little bit more. Tops of the shoulders, nice and soft. And then slowly opening the eyes. Neck pain is just one of the annoying symptoms that you might get with scoliosis. And in my membership, we've got plenty of practice videos, yoga and Pilates for those with scoliosis. My members get to request what they want to see. If it's for right thoracic, left lumbar curves, right C curves, you will find it in there. So make sure to check it out right now.